Hi everybody, welcome to Inglewood Stadium for a fixture between two local powerhouses in WA football celebrating their 70th anniversaries in 2021 as Inglewood United hosts Floreat Athena. Thanks for joining me this afternoon on the Football West Facebook page or the YouTube channel, wherever you may be viewing us around Australia and beyond. My name's Tommy Dolman. It's a pleasure to be on the mic for this round 15 clash in the West. Inglewood are fresh from a week off after a postponed fixture with ECU last Saturday, and they return home for the first time since defeat to Perth a fortnight ago, which ended a 7-game unbeaten run that had put them on the precipice of the top four. With teams above them dropping points in recent weeks, Andres Oliveira's side return to winning ways this afternoon may just put them in a top four position by day's end, pending results elsewhere, as the night series winners eye off another opportunity to put themselves in a mix for silverware in 2021.
Marco Santolucia, number 10, Nick Ambrogio.
Floreat's season, meanwhile, has stalled somewhat following back-to-back defeats, but they can take comfort knowing a first league title since their treble-winning season in 2007 is still in their own hands, given their 4-point lead over nearest rivals Perth. But the Azzurri are motoring behind them with 1 defeat in 11 matches, so Athena need to get their skates on, having been as far as 10 points clear in June. Injuries to skipper Dean Evans, Chris Saldaris provided a fresh challenge for Vaspusic's in recent weeks, but they should regain Jared Rezais from suspension and Saldaris, and a win would be greatly desired to take momentum into next week's State Cup final with ECU Joondalup at this venue.
Inglewood United, in goals, JJ Godfrey.
So this game, one of 6 NPL matches, all kicking off at 3 p.m. today across the platforms. 6 State League Division 1 streams to sink your teeth into as well. And don't forget, tomorrow afternoon, a full program of women's NPL matches at 3 p.m. as well. Referee out in the middle this afternoon is Stuart Beattie, and he will be assisted on the touchline by James Webb and Jess Bird.
Number 14, Steve Sokol. And number 17, Mark Barnett.
So just about set to get underway here. Round 15 of the men's NPL WA competition is upon us as crunch time looms for both of these teams in season 21. A must-win game both in terms of Floreat's title ambitions and for Inglewood's top 4 hopes. A traditional fixture in WA football. The first of 8 league games remaining this campaign is off and underway, with Floreat kicking from the left to the right of your stream, wearing their alternate all-white kit. Inglewood wearing their traditional home strip of the yellow jerseys and the blue shorts. A nod to their history, given they started as Inglewood Kiev. And here's Inglewood on the front foot area as Barrera looks to feed a ball through. Steve Sokol got the shot away, and goodness me, that would have been a wonderful start for Inglewood inside the first 60 seconds. Jason Saldaris in position A there to make the save, and a good show of intent from the home team early on, who of course had a 7-game unbeaten run prior to the defeat against Perth a fortnight ago. Of course, they did have a week off last week as well, with their game against ECU Joondalup up at the campus postponed. So they should be fresh going to this game against a Floreat team who suffered a 1-0 defeat over at Dorrien Gardens against second place Perth. Desperate for 3 points after back-to-back defeats as Tiak Kuel steps in, looks wide and finds Sokol, and Inglewood will try and get the ball under control, but that's good pressing over on that far side from McManus, and Inglewood will have to settle for a throw. Throw-in to be taken by Rob Del Borello. Santa Lucia's ball forward off an Inglewood player. The visitors get possession. Ambrosio goes to ground. Stuart Beattie said he was nudged, and first opportunity perhaps for Floreat Athena to get some bodies forward. Up come the aerial threats from the back, the likes of George Fester, Andrew Palmer, and Chris Saldaris, of course, who's been prolific from set pieces this season. In it comes. It was aimed in at Rob Harding. It'll be left to drift out of play, and the last touch was off an Inglewood leg, so we will have the first corner of the afternoon. Phil Arnold, who took that free kick a moment ago, will jog over and swing another ball in. McManus makes an early run. Looking for the short. It instead is aimed in at the back post towards Saldaris. Last touch off Barnett there. First of the ball should be Javad Razai, who's back from suspension this week, having been shown a straight red card against the Glory. Frobisher heads away. Sokol lays off for Ajak Riak, who's charging through midfield here. Petkoff's turned around the corner, has put Steve Sokol in on goal. It's Sokol who's through and scoring. And Inglewood strike first here at Inglewood Stadium. Their main man has a dozen for the season. And that's just the tonic that the home side would have wanted. Inglewood 1, Floreat 0. So 12 for the season for Steve Sokol. The power of Ajak Riak through midfield. The hook around the corner from Rod Petkov. And Steve Sokol had a long way to run, but he kept his composure and slipped the ball past the on-rushing Jason Saldaris. And a win today, and results elsewhere would mean Inglewood will end the weekend in the top 4, and without knowing results elsewhere at this early stage, that's where they will be. Chance for the visitors to respond here, though. A free kick about 30 yards out from goal. It's Arnold stood over it. It slipped into Rob Harding. Ball across the box. Oh, the last touch was off Frobisher, and then it was hooked away. And the last touch was off a Floreat player, and it'll be a goal kick. So Floreat nearly with an immediate response there. It was Anthony Frobisher who stuck a leg out. Proved to be a crucial touch there from the Inglewood midfielder as Rob Harding slipped that dangerous ball across the 6-yard box. All a little bit lax from the set piece there from Inglewood's defence, who watched Rob Harding just slip off the wall and into that right channel. No harm done there, but might just be that little boost of confidence the away side need after conceding that early goal, and they're back on the front foot here as Santa Lucia will look back for Gallen. Santa Lucia couldn't quite keep that one in play. Inglewood will have the throw-in over on that far side. So we touched on Inglewood's excellent form prior to their week off last week. 3 wins in a row prior to that defeat against the Azuri at this ground. On a day where the club were meant to be celebrating their 70th anniversary, it was sadly washed out, and along with the COVID restrictions, it made it quite difficult for them to celebrate in the true fashion that they deserve to. But I do believe that there will be an opportunity for Inglewood fans to come and celebrate the 70th anniversary later this month in their home game against Bayswater. So stay tuned to all the details for that one on the Inglewood socials. A strange season for Inglewood in part that they looked so good in pre-season, won the night series, and then won just one of their first 5 games. As Ambrosio straight offside there. And Inglewood earned the free kick. A 4-game losing run after their opening day win against Inglewood had really dropped them down the table, and it was a week off during the cup round, which allowed Andres Oliveira's side to regroup and perhaps work on some things in training, and since then they've not looked back with one defeat in those 8 games, as we touched on before, and they're a goal to the good here. And I've got eyes on the top 4 moving forward, as McManus's touch was a little heavy, and Del Borello will get us restarted again. Petkov cross into the area, too close to Saudaris. One of the best stoppers in the division, Jason Saudaris, been with Floreat since 2016. Joint goalkeeper of the year with Alex Dunn in 2018 and 2019. Dunn, of course, Inglewood's regular number 1, who unfortunately picked up an injury against Bayswater 3 weeks ago, meaning that Josiah Godfrey, the reserve goalkeeper, has been deputising for past game and a half prior to today. Late call there from Stuart Beattie, who gives the free kick to Floreat. Del Borello's ball forward. Headed from Saudaris, only as far as Barrera. Stepping in well was Palmer, and now this is Iowa, in fact it's Arnold, who comes away with the ball and lays it out here to Chris Saudaris, who's back from injury this week. Good header on there from Santa Lucia. Now McManus will look to feed inside for Palmer, who will get there first. He tried to play it off Barnett and succeeded, and Floreat will have a second corner of the afternoon. Floreat had scored in every NPL WA match prior to their past 2 defeats. Let's see what they can do from this set piece as Arnold puts this one in the air. It's flicked on by Saudaris. It's over the bar, and it'll be an Inglewood restart. Saudaris. Forward for Ambrosio, who tries to head around the corner. Now the free kick, I think, was given for handball initially by the referee, but Jesper's flag was up, deeming that Ambrosio had just strayed offside slightly. Ambrosio very much playing in that false 9 role this afternoon. One of the things that Floreat front four are really good at doing there. Very adaptable. Like to mix those positions. Harding and McManus, I'm sure you will see playing in that centre forward role at some point during the afternoon, but got a bit of defending to do now at the moment. Gallen looks back for Saudaris. Wants to play short and does for Festa. Rezai. Saudaris. Now Palmer. Switch of the play. He was perhaps caught late by Riak. Stuart Beattie lets play continue. McManus will strike one. Oh, Godfrey, that's a brilliant save. He got a big hand on that to turn wide of the post. I think he saw it late, but job well done as far as the goalkeeper's concerned, and Floreat just starting to turn up the pressure a little bit. Referee just giving Ajak Riak a talking to, perhaps for that late challenge a little earlier as Arnold's ball comes in again. McManus tries to flick on. Rezai will try and get onto the left foot. He somewhat checked by the referee. Still has possession though. Twisting, turning Rezai into the area. Still going Jared Rezai. Blocked and behind for another corner. Would have been a tremendous solo strike had that slipped past the goalkeeper. Now the referee just has a little bit of admin to sort out in the 6-yard box. It's about 3/4 of the players on the pitch are in that tight space, and Arnold will try and help it in there. Last touch there off McManus, and home team can draw breath. Sheeta Livings' pass was a little too far for Sokol to bring under control. Just the one meeting between these two sides in season 2020 was at this venue. 2-0 win to the visitors that afternoon. Goals from Liam Murray and Chris Saudaris, both in the space of 4 minutes. As Palmer helps wide for Rob Harding, who strikes a goal. Last touch was off Barnett, and it just drifts wide of the post. There's half a shout for handball. Referee says play on and corner kick. Just for a moment there, it looked as though Rob Harding's strike was going to cannon off Barnett and drop into the back of the net, but much to the relief of Inglewood's defence, it drifted wide of the upright, and got to say it's the league leaders who are been on top since Steve Sokol's opener. Here's another Arnold corner. It's aimed in at Saudaris. It's looped over the bar. Barnett's clearance there, a little sloppy. Palmer. Harding. Saudaris and now Festa. Harding's header inside. It may present itself to Ambrosio. It instead runs to McManus. Kuel sliding in. That was good play from the holding midfielder, and now Sokol will invite Del Borello forward, and a fullback was caught slightly late there by Harding, who ended up on the other side of the pitch. having been involved in the play a moment or two ago. Vasvicic there, who's done a really good job in his first couple of seasons as senior head coach with Floreat Athena. Won 19 of his 27 league games and has guided Athena to a State Cup final and an FFA Cup round of 32 place. Having started the season as assistant to Ante Kovacevic before the former Perth Glory defender moved to become the general manager of Western United back then. Sokol's clipped through, cleared away by Festa there. Now Santa Lucia will check back inside and find his defensive colleague Gallen. Inglewood trying to play out of a tight pocket. The player's broken down though. Petkov will let one rip and it's high and over the bar. A lot of the game in this first half has been played to the right of screen, and Inglewood have had to do quite a bit of defending since opening the score, but the press was on point on that occasion to try and give the defenders a bit of a break. Clearance worked out okay for Rezai, who's got Palmer to his right. On it goes now for Harding, who has Saudaris overlapping down the line, who should be able to keep the ball in play, and does. Gets the ball across goal. It'll be intercepted by Barnett and cleared upfield. A really nice pace to this game inside the first 20 minutes or so. If you're joining us a little bit late, it's Inglewood United 1, Floreat Athena 0. Early goal from Steve Sokol, his 12th of the season, the difference so far, as both players require a little bit of medical attention. Not sure if that was a clash of heads in midfield there or what that was. Anthony Bafobisha is back up on his feet now. I think that's Sean McManus, who's still down just in front of halfway. Just a reminder elsewhere this afternoon, Bayswater City and Perth Soccer Club, Armidale versus Rockingham, Coburn City versus Perth Glory, third versus fourth as ECU plays Sorrento, and also Gwelup versus Balcatta as well. Full complement of Saturday afternoon fixtures kicking off at 3 p.m. And good to see that the sunshine has come out, at least for the time being anyway. So McManus has come to the sideline. Floreat will play with 10 for the time being. In fact, Bafobisha has also come off as well. I think it's Gallen's ball forward. It's going to be gathered by Godfrey. And was. So 10 on 10 for the moment as Kuel looks forward and picks out Riak, who loves to run with the ball at his feet, as we saw earlier in the half. Last touch there was off Arnold, according to the referee, and Inglewood will now get their first corner of the afternoon. Frobisher back on the ground now. McManus just changing the shirt. He'll come back on with the number 22 jersey, having started the game with the 8 on his back. So Frobisher's corner floated into the near post, headed away, and behind goal by Santa Lucia, and it'll be take 2 on this near side to the left of your screen. McManus back on the ground now, so 11 apiece once more. Secondary corner from Frobisher. This one a lot more floated. Barnett's header was powerful but wide of the mark. Almost happened in slow motion there, that set piece, as it unfolded, but no damage done to Floreat, and they'll get restarted quickly. Here is McManus looking to make a nuisance of himself. Cleared into touch there by Suarez. Suarez again coming across. Barnett should be able to get this one upfield. Pass a little wayward of React. Saldaris was pressed by Frobisher, and another clash of heads here in the centre of the park, and Frobisher once again a pivotal figure in their collision. This time he collided with Chris Saldaris. Frobisher a real tough nut to crack, as is Chris Saldaris, who's back on his feet now. In fact, both players are, so good to see no lasting damage done. Frobisher will have to come off the ground, though. Temporarily for the moment again, though. A little bit of confusion there as Frobisher was made to come off after his head knock, and Chris Saldaris wasn't. Both players should be waved back on, though. Kuel pressed by Razai. Ambrosio was putting the pressure on. It was cleared by Suarez. Both Frobisher and Saldaris both on the pitch now, and the Inglewood number 10 was on the spot to help it forward. Frobisher. Palmer fighting for possession. Frobisher throwing himself at the ball again. It really has been in the thick of it inside the first half an hour of this game. Razai's ball was a little too far ahead of Ambrosio, and it'll be a goal kick. I spoke about Floreat Athena entering the State Cup, advancing to the State Cup final, which will be played next week at this venue, along with the under-18s and the under-20s Cup, and also the NPL Women's Cup final as well. Draw, of course, was made on Thursday night during the week, and Floreat Athena have drawn Adelaide United at home, so a real David and Goliath battle there. A good chance for Vas Vujicic's team to test themselves against A-League opposition. Great to see two NPL WA teams hosting games here in the West in the week of August 17. Error at the back from Gallen, nearly allowed Bafobisha to step in. Barrera was pressing once more, and Arnold should be able to get Floreat out of jail for the moment, and they'll look and counter as McManus drives forward with the ball. It was a crucial challenge from Del Borello to hold up the play temporarily. And Gallen's rushed clearance was into touch. Just to quickly touch on the other games involving WA sides, of course, ECU Joondalup will play against Adelaide Olympic, and the winner of Perth Glory and Melbourne Victory will travel to Adelaide City as well. And as mentioned before, August 17, that week, the games will be played on. Further details to be confirmed in due course. Petkov's attempted cross was blocked and behind for an Inglewood corner. You just suspect the home team have settled slightly after that really sharp Floreat response after conceding first. Just found their footing in the game once more. It's Bafobisha who's taking this set piece from the other side of the ground. It's floated in towards Barnett again. It's headed away by Gallen. First to the ball will be Suarez. Sheeta Livings nearly ran into trouble. Last touch was off the Inglewood left back, and Floreat will look to try and get the ball moving quickly. Harding's flick on, looking for McManus. Crucial foot in by Kuel. Forward from Barrera. Into the knees of Riak, sliding in Gallen, who took ball and has gone into the referee's notebook and picked up the first yellow card of the afternoon. Inglewood perhaps had a little bit of an advantage on there as well over the far side. Stuart Beattie saw fit to stop the play though. So just a touch over half an hour played in this round 15 NPL WA game. Inglewood United 1, Floreat Athena 0. Steve Sokol's early goal, the difference. Scored inside the first 5 minutes. Tommy Dolman with you on the call this afternoon on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook page. One of 6 games. A full slate of top flight matches across the platforms today. Barrera looks to slip in Petkov, but the pass was a little overcooked. Forward by Barnett, headed by Gallen. Sans Lucia will get to the fall of the ball first. Arnold, Floreat tried to play out from the back and do a pretty good job of it until Kuel steps in. One of the big improvers in the division this season, Tiak Kuel. Really does patrol that holding midfield position well for Inglewood. Harding will tickle around the corner. Ambrosio won't quite get there. Kuel, of course, who joined from Balga at the start of 2020, stepping up a couple of divisions to play senior level NPL football. Ever present, who had spells with Floreat and Sorrento in his younger days. And got off the mark at senior level a few weeks ago against Bayswater City. Soldaris forward. Manis looks to pick out Ambrosio. Barrera looks up. Petkov wants to get onto that right foot. He's got Sokol wide right here. Cross into the middle was a little close to Soldaris. Two were in the area waiting for the delivery. Ambrosio's ball forward, looking for the run of Harding. Barnett will put into touch. Ambrosio's ball, stepping in Kuel. Cleared by Barnett. Headed by Gallen, will only be as far as Bafobisha. Only had the one player ahead of him, so had to check back. And then Palmer stepping in with a good challenge on Ajak Riak there. Touch again from Barnett. Rezai. McManus. Santa Lucia's offered the overlapping run, but the pass just had a little bit too much heat on it. Santa Lucia pokes forward for Ambrosio. Santa Lucia gets the cross in, deflected off Kuel and behind for a corner. No shortage of set pieces in this half, but neither team have been able to make one pay yet. Once again, it's Phil Arnold to swing in. Floreat with 6 in the penalty area. Aimed into the back post. Fester's header. Harding's header off the post. Cleared away by Del Borello. And Inglewood survive again. Another close call from the visiting side. Arnold goes to ground, looks to play on quickly. Andrew Palmer slipping in. Lovely pass. Rezai, cross back. Shouts for handball, nothing doing. And then Del Borello slips as he cleared. Beautiful build up there by Athena, who took that free kick quickly. Palmer couldn't quite keep that one in play. Riak gets the better of Fester here and has a chance to look up and cross into the area. It's cleared away by Santa Lucia, who had Sokol lurking in behind him. And now Athena will look to counter. Ambrosio's passed up the line. Barnett got in front of Razai. Game a little bit backwards and forwards at the moment, and now Riak has slipped in Barrera, who just went a little bit early. According to the linesman over on that far side, it must have been a close call. Game just stepping up a notch here as Petkov tries his luck from distance. It's over the head of Saudaris, and it's found the back of the net. A stunning piece of ingenuity from Rob Petkov from just in front of halfway has doubled Inglewood's lead here. Saudaris caught cold. And Inglewood are looking to the top four at this point. They lead by 2-0. Rob Petkov scores for a fourth straight game, and he just spotted Saudaris off his line ever so slightly, and that was the only opportunity he needed to look up and try and loop it over the goalkeeper, and that he did despite the glove of Jason Saudaris. And now Inglewood have their tails up as Gallen is required to step in on Petkov. So a big...
And we just had a second goal of the game, scored by Inglewood United's number 9, Rob Petkov. He scored Inglewood United 2, Floreat Athena 0.
Sokol battling for possession again. It's Steve Sokol in the area. It's pulled back. It's Jason Barrera. It's 3. Inglewood have rattled in 3 first half goals at home and have really opened this title race up again, and in turn boosted their top 4 hopes as well. An incredible first half of action here at Inglewood Stadium. And Andres Oliveira's side lead by 3-0.
They say also about timing, and as far as the answer goes, there's the third goal of the afternoon scored by Inglewood United's number 8, Jason Chili Pereira. A long time coming. The score Inglewood United 3, Floreat Athena 0.
So 2 goals in almost as many minutes. Has put Inglewood into a real position of power here. In fact, last time Inglewood had a week off, they then went on a 7-game unbeaten run. They had a week off last week, of course, due to the postponed fixtures, and they've jumped into a 3-goal lead here. Saudaris slides in on Riak. Possession will go back to Athena, who need to find an answer, and quickly. And time ticking down till half time. And an opportunity to possibly reset. Festa clears, only as far as Sheeta Livings. Inglewood looking to perhaps inflict more playing on Floreat. Bofobisha stepping in Ambrosio. Referee allows play to continue and then he'll bring that back. Steve Sokol penalised there in his tracking back duties. Palmer hooks around the corner. Chris Saldaris will get there first. It's Saldaris in the area. It's pulled back looking for Razai. It's cleared away and then Riak's clearance was off Palmer and into touch. Barnett's header into touch. Perhaps one last chance for Floreat to pull one back before the break. It's thrown in, aimed at McManus. It's cleared away by Suarez. Chance still for Festa to get the ball forward. It's aimed in towards Razai, who runs into the brick wall of Barnett. Now, did he keep that one in play? He did, but only at the expense of a throw. Saldaris into Palmer. Ambrosio scoops across in the air. Godfrey was sat under it and was able to claim in confident fashion. Saldaris' ball forward's a good one to release Harding. He's got Razai in the middle in support. It's good defending from Ashita Livings to cut across and defuse it. And now the players come forward. It's taken short for McManus. It's hooked into the middle. Arriving was Arnold. It was headed clear. It will be gathered by Santa Lucia, and sliding in was Sokol doing his defensive duties. Saldaris throws in. McManus will turn on the left foot, shouts for handball, nothing doing. And now Barrera will come away with it. Sokol runs into Razai, who's twisting and turning and then winning the foul. Ambrosio. Switch of the play will give something for McManus to chase. It just drift away from him though. And that's enough for this first half, according to Stuart Beattie. Excellent scoreline for the home side, who lived by 3-0 at the interview. Goals scored by Steve Sokol, his 12th of the campaign. Robert Petkov's 4th consecutive game of which he scored in, and Jason Pereira's first goal of the season has given United a 3-goal cushion, but they haven't had it all their own way. Rob Harding hit the post, he then had a deflected effort, drift wide as well, and then Sean McManus's rasping drive was denied by an excellent save from Josiah Godfrey. But Inglewood ultimately took their chances, and that's why the game stands at 3-0 as it stands here at Inglewood Stadium.
Bayswater 0, Perth Soccer Club 2.
Welcome back to Inglewood Stadium for second half men's NPL WA action, round 15 of the competition. And it's Inglewood United who lead by 3-0, courtesy of goals from Steve Sokol, Rob Petkov and Jason Barrera. Floreat Athena have made a double change at half-time. Inglewood United unchanged. Coming off for Floreat has been Jawad Razai and Dennis Gallen, the latter perhaps on a yellow card ahead of next week's cup final, and no chance has been taken there. And coming on in their place at right back is Ben Steele, which means that Chris Aldaris has come into the centre of defence. And also coming on in place of Jawad Razai is Manasseh Abendalwa, who looks as though he's slotting into that central striker role, with Nick Ambrosio dropping a little deeper in the midfield at the start of this half. So Floreat with plenty of work to do. Early goal in this second half will be greatly desired as McManus looks up and finds Abendalwa, his first touch of the half. Palmer goes to ground and draws the free kick, and this is a promising position early in this second half for the visitors. Massive weekend of action. 3rd versus 4th, the Northern Derby. Bayswater versus Perth as well. All games with permutations that could involve the teams here this afternoon. It's Inglewood up by 3-0. It's a Floreat free kick. It's Abendalwa's strike. It's a beauty from Abendalwa, and what an impact from the substitute. One back for Athena and a possible lift at the start of the second half. Inglewood 3, Floreat 1.
In the start of the second half, the goal scorer for Floreat Athena, Manasseh Abendalwa, who scored Inglewood United 3, Floreat Athena 1.
So Manasseh Abendalwa's first Floreat Athena goal in his 7th appearance. Started the season at Armidale before joining Floreat, and it's a crucial goal to perhaps give the visiting side some real hope. Breaks a drought of 2.5 games without a goal as well. Abendalwa again. Lovely pass through there, and God, nearly found Harding. Lively introduction from the substitute, and Floreat have certainly got their tails up. It's Harding again. It's pulled back across for Palmer. It's Abendalwa who stayed on side. It nearly broke for Harding. It's Kuel who pokes away, but Abendalwa was offside as he came back to get involved in the play. And just like the start of the first half, it's been a lively start to the second half as well. 2 brilliant goals from Rob Petkov and Manasseh Abendalwa, which I'm sure we'll see on the Goal of the Week package during the week. Arnold was bundled to the ground. Free kick taken quickly. Palmer, Santa Lucia. Little turn pass from McManus. Santa Lucia tried to help it inside, but couldn't quite wrap his boot around it. Frobisher. Barrera. Now Rob Del Borello. Petkov, Inglewood trying to play out of a tight pocket. They're eventually crowded out, and Santa Lucia will look for the pace of Abendala again. Suarez goes to ground and grabs the ball, expecting a free kick, and that's exactly what he got. Much to the angst of the Floreat crowd to my left. Abendal has certainly made an impact since he's entered the fray. He's just given Floreat that little bit of movement in that final third that they struggled to really find in that opening 45 minutes, in general play anyway. The Frobisher switch is a good one. Riak left it behind. He went back and got it though. And now he'll try and use his pace to burn past Ben Steele, but Steele stuck to his task well. And then his teammate Arnold came back to help him clear the danger once and for all. Manus's ball was looking for Harding. It was headed away by Sheeta Livings. And now Riak will try to utilise his pace again. He's clipped there, though, by a retreating Harding. The referee keeps his cards in his pocket. Well, we were promised goals based on historical matches between these two teams, and we've had 4 already early in the second half. An average of just under 4 goals in the 14 matches across the NPL WA era. 53 scored in those 14. 25 goals scored in the last 6 games, and another 4 today. Barnett's ball forward. Barrera helped on towards Riak. Steele will cut across and put into touch. Former Southwest Phoenix defender Ben Steele, also a state under-16 rep, having joined Athena from Sterling's under-18s at the start of 2020. Barrera scored his first goal of the season in that first half. Lovely play here from Inglewood as Riak finds Barrera once more. Tries to tiptoe out of a corner. It's Robert Petkov. It's the strike at goal, but Barrera or Riak, one of the two, weren't able to stay onside during that passage of play. In terms of the overall record between these two sides, it's been pretty close since 2014 when the NPL WA competition formed. 4 wins for Inglewood, 5 draws and 5 wins for Floreat. Floreat, of course, winning the past 2 games prior to today's meeting. It's just as tight in terms of the home meetings here, with Inglewood leading by 3 wins to 2. And 2 draws amongst those 7 home games played in total here at Inglewood Stadium. McManus tries to jink his way past Sheeta Livings, but ran out of turf. Godfrey's just going to get a little warning from the referee there about some possible time wasting. A little early to start with that, perhaps, despite Floreat's good start to the second period. Climbing was Saudaris. Flicking on was Ambrosio. Abandawa was stepping in. Appeals for a foul. Play on, says the referee. Petkov. Santa Lucia was tracking back and won the ball cleanly in the challenge. Now Palmer. Arnold. Santa Lucia wrestling with Petkov there, and the Inglewood man, formerly off Floreat, emerges with the ball, and into the book goes Santa Lucia for halting the progress of Inglewood's number 9. Robert Petkov was Floreat's top scorer in 2019 with 10 goals. Now wearing the yellow jersey of Inglewood. Bofobish's cross. Header away from Steele, I think it was in there. It's going to break for Petkov, who's stood up by 2 Floreat defenders, and eventually Steele just lobs that one into touch and then goes back to ground, requesting a little bit of time to recover. Riak. Sheeta Livings, 1-2 with Riak. Riak tries his luck from a tight angle and easily gathered there by Saudaris. Barrera. Petkov will look wide for Riak, who should be able to keep it in play and does. Riak, one-on-one with Steele, cross into the area. Barrera got a touch on it. Palmer's clearance was only as far as Kuel, and now Petkov will strike. Blocks once, twice, and then it'll be recycled back for Del Borello. Just skipped its way past, possibly off a touch of Santa Lucia, and then Kuel, and out of play it went for a goal kick. Arnold's desperate for an option. He picks out a wonderful pass to find McManus. Cross into the area, nobody arriving on the edge of the penalty box. Abandawa may yet make it work. It's instead helped back for Suarez to clear. Here's George Fester, who has been a regular at senior level for Athena, having broken into the team late in 2020 and really impressed. His switch to the play finds McManus. Now Palmer. Looking back for Santa Lucia, who may yet pick out Palmer again. Kuel got a crucial foot in. Sokol tried to wriggle away and did so successfully. Now he's got Petkov to his right. Riak is arriving on support to his left. Sokol will go himself. He'll round Saudaris. Can he keep his feet? He does. Cleared off the line. It may break for Riak. It's hooked behind for a corner. And Floreat survive a potential 4th goal for Inglewood there, as Sokol did all the hard work and then was denied on the line by a great piece of positioning. Well, you can tell Sokol's full of confidence at the moment. He just kept going through a multitude of challenges there. Crosses in from Bofobisha. Barnett's header off the bar, and Petkov pokes in a 4th. And Inglewood get the goal they need to restore their 3-goal cushion. Robert Petkov's 7th goal of the season. Inglewood lead by 4 goals to 1.
And there's the latest goal of this afternoon's encounter, scored at Inglewood United's number 9, Rob Petkoff. He scored Inglewood United 4, Floreat Athena 1.
Inglewood United 4, Floreat Athena 1. A result that looks as though it's going to really shake up the top 4 by the end of the afternoon. Putting the pressure on ECU Joondalup and Sorrento as they need to do. And Andres Oliveira will no doubt be very happy head coach in the home dugout. In his 3rd season at the club, having taken Inglewood to 2nd place and a grand final in 2019. A tricky campaign last time round, of course, given the effects of COVID-19 and the lockdown, which truncated the season, but Inglewood are certainly back on their mettle this year, and having won the night series, they're finding some real momentum at the start of the back end of this campaign. Not done just yet either, as Riak will play the safe ball back for Barnett, who was so close to his first goal in the NPL era. Mark Barnett. Header which cannoned off the underside of the bar, and thankfully for the home team, broke the way of Rob Petkov, who scores his 2nd of the afternoon. Abendalwa. Miscontrolled by McManus. Sokol will look to drive again. Instead, he lays wide for Bafobisha. Clouds just hovering over Inglewood Stadium. At the moment, we've done pretty well to avoid any rain so far. As Arnold fouls Sokol on the edge of the area, and this is a very appealing place for a set piece potentially. We saw Abendalwa crack in a brilliant free kick earlier in the half. What can Inglewood do with their opportunity from just shy of 18 yards? So it'll be Giovanni Suarez who will line up this dead ball opportunity. Scored twice from a free kick this season already, both in the first 4 rounds of the campaign. What can he do here? He goes low and under the wall this time. Saudaris was temporarily unsighted, but was able to gather easily in the end. Del Borello's header. Abendalwa links up with Palmer. Abendalwa was looking for an option wide right, but instead he had to check back for Arnold. Steele. Rob Harding. Harding again. Little clip. May yet come back for Harding. It does. Ambrosio tried to turn around the corner for Steele. It's cleared into touch by Ashida Livings. Player who debuted at Inglewood in 2016, who represented the WA state team in 2018. A virtual ever-present at full-back for Andres Oliveira's time during his spell at the club. Now looks as though got an injury worry for Floreat over on that far side of the pitch, and it's George Fester who's limping off. The good news is he's back back on his feet, but he's going to be withdrawn here. Perhaps with an eye on next week's cup final at this venue, of course. And on in his place is Jesse Fuller. Good to see the Floreat number 6 back on the pitch after a tough time with injury over the past 12 months or so. Actually returned from the bench for his first appearance since August last year, last week, in the game against Perth, and he's come on in this game to replace George Fester, who's making his way off the ground slowly at the far side. Change for Inglewood as well. Andreas Theodosiades on for Jason Barrera, I think it is, who's taking the long way off the pitch. Crossing in the middle was looking for Harding. Layoff was cut out by Bafobisha. Palmer floated a ball into the back post. McManus will give chase. Did well to find Santa Lucia. Now Arnold. Santa Lucia again. Cross was charged down. Kuel headed forward. Theodosiades helped it back, and Suarez should deal with this and does. Fuller's ball forward. Abendale was going to give chase here, and he's going to get there in time. He looks back and finds McManus, who slipped as he crossed, and that was easy for Suarez to cut out, as it turned out. Counter-attacks on for Inglewood here as Theodosiades looks left for Riak. 3 players with him at the moment. Kuel also arriving too. It's Ajak Riak who's picking out Sokol. Little reverse was looking for Kuel, who'd made his way forward. And Floreat are able to scramble away. And Del Borello just took his eye off the ball there momentarily. Fuller. Bafobisha. Theodosiades, who's just occupying that number 10 position at the moment, in place of Barrera. His pass is kept in by Riak. Now Riak only has Petkov in the box at the moment, so he has to go back for Theodosiades. Kuel. Now Suarez. Pass from the defender was wayward. Abendalwa tries the early release, looking for Ambrosio. Godfrey's off his line, though, and should be able to gather that one, no problems. Ball forward here for Sokol, who's driving at Santa Lucia. Crossing the area. Petkov's arriving. Oh, great save, Saudaris. Magnificent save from the goalkeeper, who stuck out a right glove and kept out Petkov's potential hat-trick strike. One of the saves of the season there from Jason Saudaris. It looked improbable that he was going to keep that one out. Superb piece of goalkeeping. Fobisha's corner. Sokol strike. It's over the bar. May just have kept Athena in with slight hope of making a comeback if they can get a quick goal here midway through this second half. Tracking back Palmer, clipped the heels of Inglewood's number 9. And he'll go into the book. So Inglewood's front three has once again flourished this afternoon. They've got a free kick here. It's Del Borello who'll drive one. It's Saldaris who had to beat it away. It was spinning all over the place. Second knuckleball free kick that we've seen this afternoon after Abendale's strike. Fobish's corner, aimed it at Petkov. Header away was from Santa Lucia. Fobish's back heel. Theodosiades tracking back was Abendale, who's impressed since coming off the bench. And he slipped on the pass, but worked out well because it found McManus, although he was crowded out. Floreat's winger, and Inglewood should be able to emerge with the ball. Sliding in was Abendale, who's in the action once more, and that's a good ball forward here. Looking for Rob Harding, who's just drifted into that channel. McManus had to wait for the support to arrive in the area. McManus then struck at goal. It'll break for Ambrosio. Blocked. And then struck over the bar from Floreat's number 10. Not sure whether that initial strike was on target or not, but Del Borello was in the right place regardless. Palmer. Ambrosio. Abendale. Stepping in there, Befobisha. Another all-action, all-energy shift from Inglewood's midfielder. Riak. Theodosiades. Befobisha. Riak stepping in there with a good challenge with Saldaris, and then Palmer was fouled. So he tried to wriggle away. So we're into the last quarter of this game now. Minutes ticking down for Athena if they are to make an unlikely comeback here. Scoreline currently Inglewood United 4, Floreat Athena 1. Tommy Dolman with you live on the Call Football West YouTube channel and Facebook page this afternoon. As Theodosiades drives forward, looking for a fifth perhaps. Petkov, lovely interchange. Theodosiades strikes, it's blocked, it's away by Arnold. A result, of course, which, as things stands, will have ramifications for both the top four places and the title race, depending on results elsewhere. Abendale goes to ground, and Stuart Beattie's quick on the scene to issue a yellow card to Mark Barnett. A third of the afternoon, a first for Inglewood, joining Dennis Gallen and Marco Santalucia in the book. So Abendale was over this one once again. Driven to the area, cleared by Del Borello. Chance for Santa Lucia to reload. It's charged down. Good tenacity there from Abendale to win the ball back. He tries to skip through. It's broken for Ambrosio. Slid across goal. Put behind by Barnett. Floreat trying to surge, trying to pull a second back. just to give themselves a glimmer of hope. Seven in the area for Floreat. It's Ambrosio's corner. It's fisted by Godfrey. The header across goal was from Ambrosio and turned into his own net by Barnett. And they do get that second goal, Floreat, and hope still remains perhaps. Inglewood 4, Floreat 2.
There's a second goal for Floreat Athena, an own goal. The score Inglewood 4, Floreat Athena 2.
So Floreat reduced the deficit to 2. And this game may not be done just yet. Unfortunate own goal there for Mark Barnett, who just found himself in the wrong place at the wrong time on Inglewood's goal line. It was Arnold's corner and Nick Ambrosio who put the header across goal. Petkov using his strength there to draw the free kick from Fuller. Frobisher puts his left hand up. He floats it into the back post. It's aimed at both Kuel and Barnett. In fact, it was Riak over there. Cleared away, and home team will stay on the front foot for a little bit longer. Riak's cross, no one really in the middle. Fuller wasn't to know that and hoisted up in the air. Theodosiades winning the ball there, Floreat in midfield. Palmer goes to ground. Befobisher tracks back. And now McManus will try and close down Godfrey. It was good intent there from the zippy little winger. Riak's feed through. Theodosiades is wide left. He's going to come in board. Riak made the run ahead of him. Still Theodosiades deflected. And wide of the mark, much to the relief of Saudaris, who had committed the other way. Inglewood looking to put the game to bed once and for all. It'll be Befobisher who heads over to take the corner. Former Balcatta and Perth Glory youth player. Driven in, it's headed away by Steele. Suarez should get to the ball first, ahead of Harding, and does. Ball into the middle. Palmer, sorry. McManus's layoff worked out okay. Santa Lucia will look up the line and try and return it back to McManus, who wasn't able to keep that in play. A little bit unlucky there, Sean McManus, having put Del Borello on the ground with that touch around the corner. Now Inglewood will turn to the bench for the second time this afternoon. It'll be Scott Blackmore who enters the fray. He comes on for Tiak Kuel, who's putting a tireless shift in midfield this afternoon. I suspect Blackmore will sit in front of that back four. It'll be a like-for-like replacement. Blackmore's 10th substitute appearance in his 14 games this season for Inglewood. Of course, scored the sealer in the night series, and his last NPL goal was against Floreat back in the 4-3 win at E&D Leiter Stadium, a last-minute lob from outside the area. Not sure if you can remember that one at home. Abendalwa steals cross, stood up. Godfrey will come and claim. That's good goalkeeping from the youngster. Forward from Del Borello, off the back of Petkov. It's Theodosiades who gets to the fall and then tries to lob one over the top for his number 9 to get on the end of. It'll be a battle of strength once again between Fuller and Petkov, and then Arnold comes over to help his teammate and wins the free kick. Fuller's ball forward. Not able to keep that one in play. So into the final 10 minutes, well and truly now. Scoreline, Inglewood United 4, Floreat Athena 2. Still a little bit of time here for the league leaders if they can pinch one in the next few minutes. As it stands though, Inglewood are looking good to move into the top 4. And if Perth are getting the job done against Bayswater, then Athena's lead will be cut to 1 at the top, ahead of next weekend's week off for the NPL WA, and all eyes on the State Cup fixtures. Give you a reminder of those in a second as Saldaris drives forward, finds Steele. Checking back inside was Arnold, who looks up and tries his luck from distance, and Godfrey's able to watch that one over pretty safely. Meanwhile, Rob Del Borello has gone into the notebook there. Not sure what that one was for. Back in the starting lineup this week after missing the Perth game. Previous game for Inglewood was the home win over Inglewood, where he collected a red card in the second half. The game just becoming a little bit tetchy in recent minutes. A little bit stop-start, but it'll suit the home team just nicely. Into touch from Ashita Livings after good pressure from Abendalwa. Fuller's cross, only as far as Arnold. Stepping in there was Petkov, who did really well to win the ball and emerged with possession. Advantage will be played here as Del Borello breaks down the right. Back for Blackmore, Befobisher, Del Borello, Befobisher again into the legs of McManus, and it'll be an Inglewood throw. And now Phil Arnold will go to the book, into the book. Presumably for that challenge on Rob Petkov on halfway, and we've seen quite a few yellow tickets being handed out in the past 5 minutes or so. Double change coming up here for Inglewood United. It'll be Roberto Suarez and Egan Ingenda Kamana who enter the field. And it'll be Rob Petkov who departs, having scored twice this afternoon. And also Ajak Riak as well.
They're being replaced by number 15, Roberto Suarez, and number 11, Jide Endukaman.
Bafobisha. Suarez beaten away by Saudaris. Nearly another instant impact from a substitute. Ball still with Inglewood here. Theodosiades looks to wriggle away. Sokol's managed to stay on side here. He jinks his way inside. Theodosiades wants his left foot. Strikes. Always going wide of Saudaris' post. So into the final 5 minutes now. Well, looks as though it's going to be a good afternoon for Inglewood here. May yet get better. Suarez can't quite bring that one under control. Steele can drive away. He'll look up the line. He's got Ambrosio and Harding and Palmer all ahead of him. Floreat gains some territory and win a throw in. Saudaris' ball forward. Palmer will give chase. Barnett will cut across and clear into touch. Steele cross into the area, stood up. It's over the head of Ambrosio, and safety first approach is taken by Del Borello. Ambrosio's ball in, aimed in at no one in particular, and easily gathered by Godfrey. He's had a good game this afternoon, the goalkeeper. Has hardly put a foot wrong. He didn't have much chance with the goal that he did concede. Arnold's free kick taken quickly. Ashita Livings' header. Barnett's header. And then Bafobish's header. Floreat preparing Kyle Murray to come on in at the next change. Saudaris. Now Arnold. Manis will try and cut in front of Ashita Livings, but good body work there from the defender to ensure Floreat forward wasn't able to put in a threat towards goal, and now that change is made for Floreat with Kyle Murray coming onto the pitch and Phil Arnold going off over on the other side. Youngster who formerly spent time with ECU Joondalup and Guelph, Croatia. Scored his first goal against Balcatta earlier in the campaign. He'll get a few minutes here to provide some fresh legs. Barnett was climbing and landing awkwardly, and he's still down behind play here, Mike Barnett. In the end, Saldaris puts the ball out of play and allows the defender to be checked on by the referee. So seconds ticking down now, of course. Floreat Athena will be back here next weekend for the State Cup final. Game between Floreat and ECU Joondalup, kicking off at 5:30 p.m. at this venue. Saturday, July 17, one of 4 cup finals hosted here. Got the women's State Cup final between Murdoch University Melville FC and Balcatta FC. And earlier in the day, we've got action from the 18s and the 20s as Subiaco play Bayswater, and Bayswater are then in action in the 20s against Sorrento as well. After next weekend's cup round, Inglewood will travel to Sorrento and then play here against Bayswater, which, as we touched on earlier, will be their second coming of their 70th anniversary celebrations. And then they'll play Rockingham away from home in the third of their next 3 NPL WA League fixtures. Floreat, meanwhile, will host Bayswater, then travel to Coburn, and then host Gwelup after next week's cup final weekend. Foul given against McManus over on that far side. As we tick into a 3rd minute of stoppage time now, so not much longer remaining. McManus, Saldaris, Offengender, Kamana, and into touch. So Floreat will go into the cup final next weekend off 3 defeats in a row. Not the ideal preparation perhaps, but anything can happen on a day like that, and they'll be hoping it can possibly reinvigorate their season. And as we touched on before, if Bayswater and Perth's game is in the favour of the Azzurri, then their lead at the Summit will be cut down to a solitary point with 7 games remaining in the campaign. Certainly shaping up as an exciting race for the title and the top 4 throughout August and the beginning of September. Andrew Palmer receiving some late attention over on that far side. Don't forget Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages tomorrow, a full slate of NPL WA women's games to sink your teeth into. 3 of them kicking off at 3 o'clock. Those are Mum FC and the Redbacks, Balcatta and Fremantle City, and Subiaco versus Perth. And then at 6 p.m. we've got Curtin University and Hyundai NTC in action. A lot of rain over the past week or 2 here in Perth. Glad that it stayed away here this afternoon. Hopefully we can get through the weekend and out of the lockdown proper on Sunday night unscathed. Godfrey launches upfield. Murray's header. Fuller will launch one last time upfield for Floreat perhaps. Blackmore will look up and it'll land at the feet of Sokol, but Del Borello was floored behind the play. Perhaps it was in that collision for the ball with Palmer a moment or two ago, so very much in the dying embers of this one, but a couple of injury stoppages have just kept this one rolling on a little more. Ball will go back to Floreat. One last launch perhaps. Santa Lucia. And Brojo was lurking in behind Barnett. McManus got his head on it. Ashita Livings will slam it upfield. Referee takes a look at his watch. No whistle just yet. Suarez. Can Inglewood perhaps at a fifth? And Gender Kamana is just straight offside. Ever so slightly. Palmer. Harding's volley. Godfrey save. Good piece of goalkeeping there. Shot was definitely creeping into the bottom corner. Kyle Murray swings it in. Godfrey's punching away and then claiming at the second time of asking, and that should just about do us here. Just the clearance to come to cap off what has been a statement win here from Inglewood United this afternoon. They may well end up in the top four positions if results elsewhere have gone their way. It was a blistering 3-goal burst in the first half from the home team. Goals inside 5 minutes from Steve Sokol, his 12th of the campaign, was followed by 2 goals in 2 minutes from Rob Petkov and Jason Pereira, who scored his first goal of the season 5 minutes before the break. Manasseh Abendalwa came on at half-time and made a good little cameo in the 45 minutes that he was on the pitch. He scored a blistering free kick, which reduced the arrears somewhat, but Inglewood got a fourth on the board through Rob Petkov, who's 7th of the season, all but confirmed the 3 points for the home side. And then Mark Barnett's own goal added a little bit of kindness to the scoreline in favour of the visitors, who slip to a 3rd straight defeat and go into next week's cup form in unideal form. But for Inglewood, they've definitely given their season a kick. They were 7 games unbeaten prior to their last match against Perth. They're back on the winning trail after a 4-2 win against Floreat Athena at Inglewood Stadium. Good night.